your say. SMS Kieno Kammies now
on 31567.
567 Cape Talk.
Your time now, 5 minutes to 7. Kieno Kammies on the Kieno Kammies Show. Now, when it comes to buying and selling goods online, like Google in the search arena, I think Gumtree certainly is the leading brand when it comes to that. When you want to sell a cell phone, if you want to rent out an apartment, people sell their cars, gaming, consoles, and all the rest of it. They use this particular platform, which for some time has been seen as the most effective platform to use. I mean, I, for example, managed to rent my apartment in Johannesburg out within the space of 5 days using Gumtree. So it certainly is a very effective platform. And if you talk to people in your community, people talk about, oh man, I've got all these things, I don't know what to do with them. Why don't we go onto Gumtree and why don't we sell them? But there's also been some negativity in relation to this. While Gumtree has been an amazing and remains an amazing platform to sell goods on, whether it's your car, etc., we've also had some negative stuff in our newspapers. 2 people having lost their lives responding to ads that have been set up by criminals. So, you've got, and like with anything in life, we also have to take personal responsibility for how we organize who to meet when we try and buy and sell stuff. But it certainly has not stopped people from raising questions about Gumtree and security, for example. But joining us to talk about this phenomenal brand is Bart Molenda. He's head of marketing at eBay Classifieds in Gumtree, South Africa. Bart, thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Now, as I said, it's an amazing brand. In South Africa, if you want to buy or sell anything, everybody I know talks about going onto Gumtree. The big question is, what is the real secret to the success of Gumtree?
I wish it was one thing, and I wish I could explain it in a simple sentence. But, it's a combination of things, and I think that that where we got lucky is we were able, through the brand, and it is an international brand that is also used in the UK and Australia. We're able to capture people's interest through all the various categories and regions that we have covered on the site. So people started to explore the site, cross-pollinate into different categories, and we started to build momentum and critical mass a few years ago, so much so that right now we're one of the top 10 largest sites in the country. Actually, I think we're sitting at number 7 right now. So the inventory is abundant. The category in particular that got a lot of interest in South Africa is cars. And South Africans definitely like their cars. Yep. There's more than 400,000 monthly visits that come to that category alone. So that's on its own our single largest place of visits. And there's 150,000 cars on there. So it makes it the largest category for items, and actually larger than our competitors, even in the autos vertical. And what ends up happening actually is I think the interest comes from even people looking aspirationally for cars. So the most popular car searched for on our site, BMW M3. Second most popular, Porsche. And I know there's not that much inventory of those cars on our site, but there's certainly a lot of people looking for them aspirationally to see what would it cost me to get into this kind of car, and what does it look like, and can I ever afford it?
Well, I'm one of the people that actually went onto Gumtree. I use it all the time to sell all sorts of things. And I must tell you, it took me 5 days to rent out my apartment in Johannesburg. I had to rush to move over to do a breakfast show in Cape Town, and I managed to rent out that apartment. But I'm one of the people who went on there to try and look for a Porsche to see what they would cost. So funny that you mentioned that. How do you remain relevant, though? Because even if companies such as Apple, if they don't innovate all the time, they've got the likes of Samsung biting at their heels. You also have competition. So how do you remain relevant?
Yeah, you're right. We do have heavy competition, and it's an industry that's still growing. There's still a lot of people that haven't used Gumtree and are getting exposed to classifieds. So, we're working on it. There isn't a single thing, but what I will tell you is we have something in store for users at the end of this year, coming into next year, and we do want to innovate a little bit more. I mean, classifieds has been seen as the same old thing for the last few years. It's definitely changed a lot since newspaper classifieds, but we want to improve that experience, and we're going to go to that next step moving into next year.
It sounds good. Now, this important issue of security, though, and as I mentioned, it was all over our newspapers. I'm sure you're aware of it. 2 people having lost their lives after responding to ads on Gumtree. What happens behind the scenes in terms of making sure that this can be as secure as possible?
Yeah. So, those situations were very unfortunate, and we actually treat them quite seriously. We do work with authorities every time a situation like this occurs, and whenever possible in any case. So each ad is monitored as it goes up, both through our in-house technology that looks for keywords and does specific filtering based on user information, but also is monitored by a panel of customer service people. So we have the largest staff of customer service behind the scenes looking at all the ads that are posted, and there's about 30,000 new ads going live every day, and that means that's about 6 ads every minute. So it's a lot of volume to monitor, but we do it, and we've invested a lot in that piece. We can't catch every bad apple, unfortunately, but I will tell you we do catch a bunch. Our success rate is very high on that front, and then again, any that we can pin down on, we work with authorities to bring to justice. So there is some horsepower in the background. But I will say 3 things that we practice or we try to enforce with our users in terms of making things go as safely as possible. One is that people always meet in person in a safe place, shopping malls, coffee shops, where have you, when you're looking like yourself for apartment rentals or furniture that you need to sell. It's important to have at least someone else there in your home as well, or other people also informed of, there's someone coming over to my house or I'm going to this place. So that's number 1. Number 2 is transact in person in cash or electronic funds transfer. So, if you're buying a mobile phone or whatever else, it's important just on that spot. If you don't want to carry the cash with you, you can come back later on with cash, or you can do it on the spot on your mobile electronic funds transfer with that user, and just to do that there. And then number 3, we just, practice common sense around if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So we definitely enforce that. And there, some people are posting things that look illegitimate or not as good as they could possibly be. So we just want people to practice common sense.
Absolutely. And you know what? That makes a lot of sense. And what I'd like you to do, if you have time, is to write us a little piece that we can put on our Facebook page as well, giving people some of those tips.
Yeah.
I think that'll be great. But great having you on the show. That's Bart Molenda, Head of Marketing, eBay Classifieds and Gumtree South Africa. The head honchos are in town. Time for your 7 o'clock Eyewitness News.